They got their first W of the season against the rookie number 1 overall generational quarterback, the greatest to ever do it.
Shut up.
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, yeah.
Now, I will say, I think Caleb outperformed Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Objectively speaking, I do think Caleb, despite having the 2 interceptions, shout out Jalen Jones. I believe both of them were to Jalen Jones, who got his first career interception yesterday or on Sunday as well. So watching that game, the Indianapolis Colts defense finally figured it out. I think they finally started getting some stuff put together, stopped the run. Zaire Franklin, huge part of that. He's still not where I think Colts fans want him to be, but he's got a cool story. He went from, I think, an undrafted free agent to now being a starter in the NFL. And they're expecting a lot out of him. And they haven't seen that yet, this season, but it's grown. It's gotten better. They've progressed. Anthony Richardson, still, he's getting in that throwing as hard as I can thing, and the balls are bouncing off of the receivers. He had another dime to Alec Pierce, deep ball, beautiful. A.D. Mitchell, don't remember him doing too much. Same with Michael Pittman Jr. And I don't know if there's issues with like the chemistry between Anthony and those guys or what, but it's not there. The passing game is not like when we were talking about this in the offseason, I said the Colts offense is the offense I am the most excited to watch because they are going to be so exciting. They're going to be so dynamic. They have not reached that point yet. Now, I will say they finally realized you need to run the ball.
Thank goodness. Yeah, thank goodness. I mean, it took them 3 weeks to figure it out.
It took me yelling at him quite a bit. Jonathan Taylor had 23 rushing attempts. It's almost double what he had in his first game, and it is double what he had in week 2. For 110 yards, averaging 4.8 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns. Good things happen when you give the ball to Jonathan Taylor. You paid the man. Okay, I'm just saying there's a correlation here between Jonathan Taylor having the ball more and you guys winning. There's something to that. Now, of course, the defense stepping up, that's huge. They were able to lock down Caleb pretty well. They made him uncomfortable. Latu made some plays. There were some other guys on the D-line that made some plays. That Colts secondary is still a little, other than Jalen Jones and Nick Cross, I think Speed had an okay game. But other than Jalen Jones and Nick Cross, there's a little bit of in the secondary. Need some more consistency there. Rome Odunze got his first. Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze both got their first NFL touchdowns in that game. So
wasn't it like Caleb Williams' first touchdown was to Rome Odunze's first? It was his first touchdown. What a career defining moment for those two gentlemen. What a career defining moment.
They're fighting over the ball. They were chasing. Caleb had to chase after Rome because he had the ball. But I don't know about this Colts team, man. And I know it's rough over here. I'm rooting for the Bengals and for the Colts, and both of these teams got me in question marks. This rookie class, Latu has shown some promise. I'd like to see a lot more out of him. A.D. Mitchell is not where I thought he'd be at all. AR could be so good. That's the annoying thing. AR is kind of in the same boat as Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence has been in the league longer, so he's held to a higher standard. But both of them are athletic specimen who are built for football. They have long legs, they're tall, they have strong arms, and they should be so good. But neither one of them are performing where they should be at, and I don't know what's going on. Trevor Lawrence hasn't won a game since November of last year. AR is struggling to complete passes to guys. to his wide receivers. I just don't know if he's just hitting them too. I think he's just hitting them too hard and they can't catch it.
Maybe. I mean, I didn't watch the game personally. I just found it really fascinating that he played really well week 1 against CJ Stroud in that divisional matchup. And me and you both kind of alluded to the idea that, yeah, AR is picking up right where he left off at the beginning of the season last year with the Colts before he got injured and was out for the entire season. And Minshew Mania had to run wild in Indy. But I thought it was really odd that afterwards he kind of fell off a little bit. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it happens, but he had a really good week 1 and then week 2 and week 3, especially this past week. I feel like he very well underperformed. And like I said, did not watch the game, but I'm thankful for the Colts fans and the fan base. I'm thankful that they got that they had Jonathan Taylor come through because everything else just was not coming through in some aspects. I feel like the defense was all right. I like I said, you give them credit, but I think for Colts fans, I'm thankful that Jonathan Taylor kind of came through and they actually ran the ball because they weren't utilizing him at all. And I'm glad that, and we've been saying it over the last couple of weeks, they needed to utilize him. But I know you mentioned, I was just going to say, I know you mentioned Trevor Lawrence, but just so you know, like Jacksonville stinks. They stink. It's like, it's hard to even compare Trevor Lawrence and Anthony Richardson because Anthony Richardson and the Colts are just not playing to their standards. Jacksonville just freaking stinks. Like how do you lose? You lost 47-10. Damar Hamlin got his first interception ever against Jacksonville. That is something else. That is something else.
Okay. So many thoughts.
47-10.
Anthony Richardson. Yes, he did. His best performance this season was in that Texans game, but even that stat line isn't great. 212 yards, 47.4% completion rate, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's his best performance he's put up all season. Against the Packers, he threw 3 interceptions. Against the Bears, he didn't even get 200 yards. He had a 50% completion rate, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions against the Bears.
Did he have any rushing? Because he was a big rusher last year. They were talking about how he could really use his legs and could be the next big Lamar Jackson scrambler type quarterback.
I don't think he did. Maybe he did.
I don't know.
No, he had one. He had one against the Texans. He's got one this season. It's against the Texans.
That's what I thought. I thought his best game was against the Texans because he had the 3 total touchdowns.
But to give context to the Texans game, and if people want to go back and watch the all 22 and check me on this, feel free to, because I've already watched it. I haven't watched it for this week yet for Colts or the Bengals, but if you want to go watch it for the week 1 game against the Texans, there were multiple plays that he overthrew AD Mitchell that they should have won that game. He's just, I'm going to keep harping on it until I see him begin to fix it. Just dial back the arm. We know that you have a cannon. We know that you can throw a 70-yard bomb. That is one of the reasons you were drafted so high. And there will be times to use that. You have Alec Pierce. You'll be able to use that. Hail Marys, they're going to be your bread and butter. You don't need to throw a Hail Mary on every play. You don't need to throw a 60-mile-per-hour bomb every day at your player who's 5 yards in front of you on a screen pass. That happened a few times to Jonathan Taylor. He's trying to catch this ball, and it's flying by him on a screen pass. Or he'd get thrown a hospital ball. He's got no blockers in front of him. He gets lit up. So, like, this Colts team, yes, they won. They got their first win. And I'm attributing that all to the defense and Jonathan Taylor. This passing game has to figure it out. Anthony Richardson, you just paid Michael Pittman Jr. a ton of money. You drafted AD Mitchell very high. You got to figure it out. And I don't know if they need to go out to a bar or something, build some chemistry, get some beers together and figure it out. But whatever you got to do it, because it's rough out there. And you're getting in a tougher division.
I wanted to ask, I know you're more of a Bengals fan, obviously, but going into this game this week, the Steelers play the Colts. How confident, if you were like a diehard Colts fan, how confident would you be going into this week?
I wouldn't be confident. I wouldn't be, because the problem is the Texans, yes, that game was going to be competitive, and it was. That was expected.
Yeah, of course.
Division. Texans are a very good football team. Packers, that game shouldn't have been competitive at all, and they got destroyed. And then the Chicago Bears have a good defense, don't get me wrong, but the Steelers' defense is better, I believe. And even more problematic, I think the Steelers have a better defensive line and pass rush than the Chicago Bears do. Who, again, Chicago Bears have a good one. I just think the Steelers are better. And so now your attack would theoretically be quick passes to the into the secondary with your talented guys, your Michael Pittman Jr.'s, your A.D. Mitchells, your Josh Downs, who came back last week, and that was a contributing factor as well to the beating the Bears. But what have we seen Anthony Richardson struggle with all season? Quick, intermediate passes. He has not shown that he can do that. And you're not going to have time to throw these deep arching passes the entire game. TJ Watt is not going to allow you to have that time. Cam Hayward is not going to allow you to have that time. You can scramble and do all that, but I really think you're gonna have to keep trying to pound the ball. I don't know how much success Jonathan Taylor is going to have with that in this game, but especially if they get no pass game going, I would not be confident in this at all. And then your defense has been wonky. Justin Fields is on a hot streak. I'd be nervous. I am nervous for the Colts. I think they can win. It's just does the team figure it out in time for the game this week?
Yeah, I was just curious. I mean, obviously I can give my thoughts now or later, but I will say I definitely think that the way that Pittsburgh's playing right now and the way that Indianapolis is playing right now, the game could be a situation where if the Steelers perform a lot better, it could end up being looked at for the Indianapolis Colts as a wake-up call of some sort. Not that you guys already haven't been woken up in certain aspects, but I think it could be, because you lose at home against the Steelers, and Pittsburgh has allowed very minimal points in their games so far. They are really, really good on defense, and right now I know that the Colts are struggling on some of that offensive production, and I don't remember how many points the first two games were with the Broncos and whatnot, but I'm pretty sure that we have like the least amount of yards allowed in the last so many years or so. You go back and you look at the Steelers schedule. I'm just going to go back at least this year, Steelers schedule. I just kind of want to like elaborate and like prove my point a little bit before we move on. But like the first two games, we allowed 10 points. Second game, we allowed 6. Third game, we allowed 10. And although, like, you know, first game was Atlanta. I mean, obviously, I'd say that's probably a better offense than Denver. I mean, Denver looked pretty good this past week. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe Denver got it figured out. Denver did not look too good week 2. Week 3, obviously, you had Herbert get hurt. But when it comes to the situation with Anthony Richardson, the Steelers like to feed off of the idea of young, inexperienced quarterbacks. So, might definitely be a wake-up call. But I'm hoping for a good game, considering it's in Indianapolis and whatnot. And we'll see how it goes. But I just wanted to hear what your opinion was.
But there's a ton of Pittsburgh fans in Indiana.
There's a ton of Pittsburgh fans everywhere.
I know, but there's a lot in Indiana. I would not be shocked if we see a lot of yellow in that stadium come Sunday.
And then it'll make it feel more like a home game. You know, TJ Watt during the Broncos game started going like this. So it's really funny to me when that happens in away games.
we'll see what happens. But yeah, I do not think Colts I don't think talking to Colts fans and looking at like posts on social media, I don't think Colts fans are confident coming into this game. They're optimistic, but it's a hopeful optimism.